Okay. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. If you weren't in our session, this is room 8 in the last session. This is room 8 now, and this was set up for expanding horizons, implementation, access, and understanding the dual credit course landscape in Kentucky. And I am proud to present two presenters, co-presenters this morning. And I think there's a session that follows up, maybe expanding on this a little bit as well, following this session. But Robin Hebert comes to us from the Council of Post-Secondary Education, where she is the K-12 policies and programs, education and relatively new agency unit. Her main responsibilities are dual credit program, Summer Bridge, and Kentucky's P20 Council and the Commonwealth Education Continuum. We also have Trinity Walsh from CPE as well. Trinity comes to us as a former school counselor and award-winning school counselor. She's was the school counselor of the year in 2018 for the Kentucky Association of College Admission Counseling Service in 2019. So congratulations to her, and glad to have both of you this morning. And I will turn it over to you. By the way, if you have questions, feel free to enter anything into the chat, and I will touch base with Robin and Trinity.
Great. Thank you, Todd, for the introduction. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen as we get started this morning. Welcome to our session on the dual credit landscape in Kentucky. As Todd said, I'm Robin Hebert, and with me today is my colleague and friend Trinity Walsh, and we're here representing K-12 Policies and Programs Unit here at the Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Ed. We are a relatively new department at CPE and kind of the brainchild of our president, Aaron Thompson. I just wanted to give you a little background in how he really understood the critical role of collaboration and partnerships between K-12 and higher education systems if we want to see more Kentucky students achieve this prosperous career and a fulfilling life. So most of our experience has been in K-12, but now we kind of serve in that space between K-12 and higher education. And one of the most critical partnership opportunities that we have is dual credit. And it has so many rewards and benefits for students and educators. And this is really what we're here to talk about today. So before we get started, I thought we'd have a little fun. On the screen, you're going to see a couple of statements about dual credit. And when you see the statement, I'd like for you to go to the chat box and place a T for true or an F for false in the chat box. But when you put it in there, don't press enter just yet. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds, and when everybody's had a chance to put their letter in, I'll say go, and we'll do a waterfall response to that item where all of your guesses will appear at the same time. So let's start with our very first question, true or false? When a student completes a dual credit course, they receive credit from both the institution of higher education and the high school. So go ahead and put in your T or your F, but don't press enter just yet. All right, so let's go ahead and press enter. Let's see what we got. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of T's there. This is a true statement. Although there are scenarios where students can receive credit from only the high school or only from an institution of higher education, we call it dual credit in Kentucky when they receive credit from both. All right, second question. Let's take a look at it. Go ahead and put your answer in the chat, but don't press enter yet. All right, let's go ahead and press enter. Let's see what we've got. Wow, you all know a lot about dual credit already. Most of you are right. This statement is false. Students may enroll in certain types of dual credit, especially CTE, from their freshman year in high school, but it is most common in the junior and senior years. All right, let's have the last question. I'm saving the hardest question for last. So go ahead and say whether you think this is true or false. Just a second or two. All right, let's go ahead and see your responses. All right, okay, we're kind of getting a little bit of a mixed bag here, but this statement number three, thankfully, is false. Kentucky's current rate of dual credit for all students is around 40% who have taken at least one dual credit course. We are working hard to increase that number so that more students have this opportunity, and we'll talk more about that later. But thanks for playing along, and just like on Whose Line Is It Anyway, the points really don't matter in this game. Let's begin with a few basics about dual credit. A dual credit course is made possible when an institution of higher education and a high school enter an agreement that allows students to simultaneously earn high school credit and college credit for a course. Now, it may be taught on a college campus by a professor, it may be taught virtually by a credentialed instructor, or it may be taught at the high school by a high school teacher who meets that institution's requirements. But the course will be associated with and transcribed by both the high school and the college or the university. So essentially, the student is able to earn college credit while they're still in high school. And as you might imagine, there are a lot of advantages to being able to do that. So dual credit coursework has exploded in popularity in recent years because it really is a cost-effective way for students to earn college credit while they're in high school. Now, while the national landscape and even our system here in Kentucky aren't perfect, there's a lot of evidence that continues to accumulate to show us that participating in dual credit courses actually does quite a few things for students. One of the most notable for us here at CPE is that it increases a student's persistence rate into their second year of college. You all know that we do lose a lot of students between the freshman and sophomore year of college. So you can see that this graph shows kind of the difference in that persistence rate. And this is based on a report from CPE called the Dual Credit and Student Success, the Effect of High School Dual Credit on Educational Outcomes at Kentucky's Public Universities. Really good report. Now, one of the things we love about this is that to make it even more compelling and appealing to us, we know that these increases in persistence are especially true for our low-income students and our underrepresented minority students. So you can see that here. So as you can tell, I am a big fan of dual credit because I'm a big fan of student success. I would love to continue the conversation about all the other benefits of dual credit, such as increased college enrollment, on-time graduation, the opportunity to have a major or a minor added to whatever pathway the student is pursuing, and also just increased exposure and exploration of career options. But, you know, as usual, I'm racing the clock today, and that's not really what our session is about. But I do want to take every opportunity I have to say that dual credit provides tons of great benefits for students and in our educational institutions. Now, before I turn things over to Trinity so that she can really dig into the nuts and bolts of dual credit in Kentucky, I do want to mention what I consider to be the sweet sauce of Kentucky's dual credit program. Now, Trinity and I, we're educators at heart, and our strongest motivation for all of this work is for more of Kentucky students to enjoy that meaningful and prosperous career that contributes to a meaningful and prosperous life. It's what our work is and has always been about. And I know that's what you're about too. We both strongly believe that when more of Kentucky students, especially those who have been underrepresented in higher education in the past, like our rural students, our low-income students, first-generation college-going students, minority students, and even our male students, when they have access to dual credit opportunities, they'll have a better shot at that life that they want and deserve. So it's up to us to make sure they have that opportunity. So to that end, we work through the Council on Post-Secondary Education, whose role it is to really coordinate the statewide dual credit program. This includes oversight and support of the state's P20 Council, which is called the Commonwealth Education Continuum. And this group has championed dual credit partnerships and support since it started in 2021. It also includes the writing and implementation of our state's dual credit policy, which was just updated last year with a vision and an attainment goal, which we're really proud of. It's the first of its kind in the country. And this all happened just last year. And Trinity will tell you a little more about that later on. And then we also convened the state's Dual Credit Advisory Council, which helps to promote best practices and monitors the quality, growth, and success of Kentucky's statewide program. So the council also works closely with the Kentucky Higher Education Assistance Authority, who oversees the state's very generous dual credit scholarship programs. And we're very grateful to the dedicated funding that comes from our Kentucky legislature for that, because it really opens up a lot of doors for students. And finally, the council works with our education and community partners to provide training programs for institutions of higher ed and our K-12 teachers and school leaders to make our system a model for the nation. So we're on our way with deep collaboration and partnerships with institutions of higher education and high schools and community partners, because we're just trying to make that student experience better and better. And collaboration is the key to our success. So thanks again for joining us today. There's a little introduction to what we're going to be talking about. And it's my pleasure now to introduce my colleague and friend, Trinity Walsh. She is an incredible asset to our dual credit team. As you heard earlier, she is a former school counselor, and she's amazingly innovative in this space. And she's very persistent and meticulous as well about details related to our dual credit programming. And she's made all the difference in helping to promote the high quality experience for all of Kentucky students. So I'm going to turn things over to Trinity now for a little more detail.
Okay, try this again. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I have a lot of slides to get through today, so if I go quickly and you have questions, please reach out to us after the session. We're happy to answer them for you at any time. And if you come up with something even months down the road and you have a question, reach out to Robin and I. We are always here to help. So due to the creation of the dual credit scholarship in 2016, you'll see that there was a sharp increase in dual credit enrollment. And the dedication of our legislature knew that one way to help move our state forward was through programs like dual credit. And their investment in helping to fund these opportunities for students has been instrumental in our college going rate. Just recently on January 4th, the National Student Clearinghouse indicated that Kentucky had the highest fall-to-fall total enrollment gains in the nation for this past year. So we like to believe that dual credit is part of that success. Each year, more college credit hours are being earned by our students, and thus ensuring better college preparation, academic success, and financial viability. Additionally, as CPE dug into the data a little deeper, there were some discoveries about the populations of students who were and weren't taking dual credit, which also helped to shape our dual credit attainment goal, which I'm going to talk about here in just a second. We want to make sure that all students have access to high quality early post-secondary opportunities, and dual credit programming is one way that we can make that possible. Through our partnership work with key stakeholders in Kentucky and national partners like the College and High School Alliance, a revised dual credit policy and the CPE dual credit attainment goal was released in early of 2023. And while a goal of 50% of our high school students participating in a dual credit course by the time they graduate from high school seems ambitious, it really is not, and it's not as scary as it sounds. These gaps are not insurmountable. As a state, we only need to add approximately 500 more students total in taking dual credit courses, which means that if each public high school in Kentucky added 1 or 2 more students, and hopefully emphasizing those underrepresented students, we will be able to meet our 50% goal by 2030. So how do we go about encouraging these students in these populations to pursue dual credit? Well, we propose that high schools invest in support services such as dual credit advisors or training other folks in your buildings who already serve an advisory role, such as teachers, especially those teachers who are teaching dual credit courses or that are leading into dual credit courses. Continue to grow and sustain partnerships in your region, especially when looking at your workforce needs. This includes not only the post-secondary institutions, but also employer partners. Additionally, consider how you might be able to expand your pool of credentialed teachers in your districts. So you may have teachers that are already have the credits that they need to be credentialed to teach dual credit, or maybe very close. And so trying to survey your teachers and find out who is available is something that I would encourage you to do. And lastly, consider how you're growing your post-secondary opportunities for your students. We're not advocating to abandon what's already worked for you, but look for opportunities within your programming where dual credit can enhance these options for your students, such as in your CTE pathways. There's a variety of resources for you, and we're providing you with the dual credit attainment worksheet here, and these are also in the resources on our page for this event. This aligns with the CPE strategic agenda priorities, and we want to encourage you to use this as it works for your school and district. We recommend that you use and analyze this worksheet with the team, such as administrators, school counselors or advisors, teachers, students, and other staff who have a stake in dual credit. And the links to this worksheet are in our breakout session information sheet. Traditionally, early post-secondary opportunities such as AP and IB emphasize general education courses and content. And as we move closer to February, which is CTE month, I want you to think about how CTE dual credit will provide students those higher level end of pathway courses. CTE programming is proven to increase academic and college success, has a focus on career planning, future employment and earnings, and increase in school satisfaction and engagement for all students. CTE dual credit growth is on a steady trajectory, and in part because of the Work Ready scholarship opportunities that we have here in Kentucky, and students have access to these each year of high school. But also it's a way to engage more students and student populations in these higher level courses like dual credit. And we're able to tap into groups that maybe have not traditionally been seen as those high-end core students. So in considering your dual credit programming, we encourage you to ask these questions with your dual credit team and see where the data takes you. How many dual credit courses are you offering in what areas? Are there areas where you could offer some advanced level opportunities that don't currently exist? How are you surveying for student interest, and are you considering and targeting your workforce needs? These students are your pipeline to economic growth in your area. Are you considering what teachers might be able to get college level credentialed or very close, like I said before? And what colleges what college pathways are already built within the state that can help you tap easily into your current programming? So I've listed 3 right there on the screen. These are 3 universities that we've talked to extensively about their pathways and what they're building for schools. And I know that some other universities around the state have some similar pathways or building them out. So, and those links will also be on our resource page. How are you communicating with your student population, which includes not only the students, but their families about dual credit opportunities, and what does that look like? And are you looking around your region or state to see what others are doing? This is a chance for us to really be partners in our student success. I like to believe that imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So please look around and see what others are doing and talk to them about their dual credit programming, and see if there's something that works for you in your district. How are you advising your students and families about these opportunities? And what might seem obvious to us isn't obvious to our students and families. And I think that's what I find most often. Currently, I'm sure most schools have this, but there's always like a parent group on Facebook, and parents ask questions. And currently, just this week, a parent asked about dual credit opportunities in our district, and what seemed very obvious to the district and to those teachers wasn't so obvious to the parents. So they did some rephrasing and rebranding of some marketing things, and now it's very easily accessible. So just think about that. What are the resources that you have available for families? And when I say all, I really mean all of our families. So one example might be populations that you're missing out on, like English learners and their families. And how can you make sure the information is accessible to them? I would encourage you to take some time and start at your Kentucky school report card to see where your school and district stands within course offerings, but also within each of the populations of students. So this is a great place to start this investigation. So as you see on my screen, when you go to the report card, you're just going to scroll down till you get to the section called Advanced Coursework. And then there's a tab that says Dual Credit. And from there, you can see you know, what you have reported to the state as what's happening within your dual credit programming, and you can start investigating there and use this as a starting point for that worksheet. And before we wrap up, I would be remiss if we didn't discuss financing of these courses. So making sure that your students are taking advantage of all of their KIA dual credit scholarships and work ready scholarships. And if you have students who have maxed out this funding, are there ways in which you can provide additional funding? I know that there are some districts in the area where the district has a strong investment and they're willing to pay for some additional coursework. I know that there are some districts across the state where they have partnered with different organizations and employers to help pay for those additional courses. So what I would encourage you to think outside of the box when it comes to additional funding, whether that's for tuition, whether that's for books or supplies and materials that students might need. There might be a market there that you just haven't considered before. We're really lucky in Kentucky that we have folks who are very invested in higher education and find ways to use the lottery funding to award scholarships and tuition grants. Everything from CAP program to the National Guard tuition program to dual credit and work ready scholarships. These scholarships are funded by the Kentucky legislature. Each Kentucky high school student receives two dual credit scholarships for courses in each of their junior and senior years. CTE work ready scholarships are awarded to students in each year of high school, 2 each year in grades 9 through 12. And these scholarships and tuition are based on half of the KCTCS tuition rate for that year. So every year it's going to change just a little bit. Each of these post-secondary institutions in our state has to opt in. But once they have opted in, students can use their coursework, scholarships, as well as receive this reduced tuition rate for courses beyond the scholarship allocation. As I mentioned earlier, when talking about partnerships, this is where some folks have really created something special. Opportunities for students to take more dual credit courses because area businesses and organizations are also investing in this type of education and helping to defer some of the costs, whether for tuition or books or supplies. And as you can see, KIA's investment in these dual credit scholarship programs is growing year after year. Students are taking advantage of this opportunity, and ultimately, we are hopeful that this financial investment will lead to academic and economic growth. The National Alliance on Concurrent Enrollment Programs, so NACEP is what they're called, has clear evidence that students who are enrolled in dual credit programs enroll in college and persist at higher rates, just like Robin was showing you earlier. And additionally, this allows students to start acclimating to college work, study skills, and the college level independence with a little bit of a safety net because we are there to help guide them. Additionally, in Kentucky, according to the Kentucky School Report Card data for 22-23, we know that students have a very high success rate of earning credit hours. Approximately 94% of our students are getting college credit when they take a dual credit course. So as I wrap up today, I want to encourage you to visit our Early Post-Secondary Opportunities Toolkit. It has a wealth of resources, including state and national research on this topic. And finally, I invite you to sign up to attend our Early Post-Secondary webinar series, which happens the second Tuesday of the month at 10 a.m. We understand how valuable your time is, so each webinar is brief and lasts only about 30 to 40 minutes. And finally, please stay connected with us on social media and our website and through our newsletter. We are constantly pushing out research. We're pushing out things that we're proud of, and we're pushing out things that we think that you should know. Like I said at the very beginning, if you have any questions about dual credit or dual credit programming or ways that we might be able to help you or partner with you, please reach out to us. We are always here to help, and we're happy to assist. So looks like we have just a couple minutes left. So if there's anybody that has any questions, or Robin, if there's anything that you want to add, we are here.
Any questions from our participants?
Wow, Robin, we were good. We nailed it. We got all the stuff. No questions.
Trying to implement my wait time.
And I know for some of you, if you're like me, tomorrow you're going to have a question. So like, it's not going to come to you now, tomorrow, or whatever. So please, again, I'm just going to keep saying it. Email Robin and I if you have a question. We are happy to answer and to collaborate with you.
Trinity, if you wouldn't mind to go ahead and put the link to the toolkit in the chat box.
Sure.
If you have that handy, I think it would be great. I do want to just let you all know, we didn't really take the time to dig into the toolkit and show you all the things that are there, but there are some grab and go resources. So like if you are a principal or a counselor at a high school, you can grab these communication tools that you can just either post on your social media or send via email to students and parents, or print to hand out if you have a college fair or some sort of opportunity like that, where like back to school night or whenever you have parents and families in the building. So there are some really great grab and go resources that we think would be helpful to you.
And the last thing that I would say is, on our webinar series, we try to highlight.
We got a question over here from Mr. King.
Let's do it.
Yeah, no, the toolkit site looks really nice. I'm gonna pass that along to our counselors. I'm sure they've probably already seen it before, but anyways, one thing that we fight is, this AP versus dual credit thing, right? So, and obviously they're both great. And in some classes we have it actually where it is both, the student can kind of choose. So I'm just throwing that out there too. I'm sure other people struggle with that. And one thing this year, like free and reduced lunch students that are over the two, we had not budgeted for that ahead of time. So, which is fine. I mean, it was, it ends up being $1,500 or $2,000 or something. I mean, we'll find it to help those kids. And then I guess Title IV, maybe at the district, could help pay for some dual credit for kids as well, that are not free and reduced lunch. I guess there's a distinction there from the district side using those funds for kids for this, and then the school level Section 6 funds for the free and reduced.
Ryan, our most recent webinar in our series was about the dual credit versus AP questions. So you're bringing up a really good point there. And, some districts just kind of have a predisposition to prefer one over the other. But we had some folks on our webinar who are just daily practitioners in these fields, and talking about how certain kinds of students might prefer one over the other. Some students are very much about a more traditional classroom and some are not. And so, especially the CTE coursework can be a little more hands-on and,
sure,
for certain kinds of students. But there are also some resources in the toolkit related to that, where like an information sheet that you could give to parents to say, okay, here's how AP works and here's how dual credit works. So they really understand the differences, because if you're not in the weeds of it, you might not know. So thanks for bringing that up.
So that's in the toolkit, but how would I get that webinar?
The webinar is available in the professional development tab there. It's not posted yet. We've had a few technical difficulties getting that on YouTube right now. So I'm just going to go ahead later on today, and I'm just going to put like a direct link to the webinar replay until it gets on YouTube, because we're kind of
professional development
holding pattern, but it will be there.
Oh, okay. I see it.
There.
Thanks so much. Awesome. Thank you.
All of the webinars are archived there. So if you want to, we always have experts talking about these different issues, and they're experts in the field. So.
And I would say, what I was going to say earlier is, we are always looking for people to highlight on our webinars. So if you feel like you have something going on at your school that fits into this space of early post-secondary opportunities, reach out to us and let us know what it is. And we can see, where that might fit, and might be able to feature and highlight you within CPE.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for the question, Ryan, and we're at our time. So I will remind you that both Trinity and Robin's contact information is in the P3 EdCamp schedule. There's additional resources listed there as well. So if you have info or questions, feel free to contact them. Appreciate you participating this morning. Robin and Trinity, both, thank you very much. Great information around
Thanks,
our
Todd.
dual credit and moving opportunities for our Kentucky students. So this is recorded and it will be posted. So hope to see you guys in some future breakout rooms. Thanks.
Thank you.